Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new Culz book reviews. As stated last week, yes, we do have a ton of Billy the Kid related content dropping right here on the channel, leading up to our documentary on Billy the Kid that we've been shooting starring Jeremy Anderson. Now if you do follow us on Instagram though, you've already seen that. So always remember, check out our Instagram, check out our Facebook. We do like to post little teasers and extra posts there. So if you want to know more than just what you see on our YouTube, don't forget to hit those links in the description below. So for this week's episode of Culz Book Reviews, we are definitely checking out this book right here, Billy the Kid, an autobiography, subtitled The Kid's Identity Revealed by Daniel A. Edwards. Alright, so this does cover maybe not the historical Billy the Kid that a lot of people know, but if you've ever seen Young Guns 2, you most likely at least know the sort of outcome of the story, as it covers Brushy Bill Roberts. Now, Brushy Bill was a guy that came out in the late 40s, early 50s, and said he was Billy the Kid. And that's what this kind of looks into, his story, or at least what he told Morrison. Now, granted, it's coming from Morrison, we're not quite sure if it really should count at all. I mean, can you trust Morrison? Who knows? But for the sake of covering everything Billy the Kid, we're going to check it out. Alright, so we're going to look at the book itself about right now. As you can see, the cover shows the subtitle, The Kid's Identity Revealed, Billy the Kid, an autobiography, and Daniel A. Edwards, the author. Now, what's really fascinating is this picture right here, because at first glance, and maybe not the longest look at it, you just think it's the tintype. But when you put the tintype next to it, and I'm not talking the reverse, because obviously tintype's a negative. This is not a negative, it's going to be the proper way the photo should have looked. But look at this face. Look at that face. This is definitely the tintype mixed with Brushy Bill to give it the, I guess, identity of the kid right there as Brushy Bill Roberts. So as you can see the side here, you got another picture there, Billy the Kid, an autobiography, and Edwards. And right here on the back you can see I Want to Die a Free Man, a little bit about the book, as well as a picture of Brushy Bill Roberts. Young Brushy Bill, which I think has been superimposed with the actual tintype right there to make the cover photo. Down below you see some other Billy the Kid books, Alias, Billy the Kid by Morrison. You can see the company right here, the publishers, and if you need the ISBN, right there. So this does clock in at 208 pages with the appendixes, and I do like the appendixes, but if you look at Goodreads, it says like 250 or something. It's only 208, and I don't know if the earlier edition had more pages, but mine definitely has 208. Now mine is going to be a little bit of a, I guess, special edition because of how it was printed. A lot of people are like, you should return it, and I was like, no, this is really cool, it's a misprint, and I'll show you why. Look at that. It's upside down. So while reading this, I actually had to flip it over to make it right side up and read this page, then this page, and so on. And so it's actually misprinted up until I think like page 86, to which, let's see if we can find it. 83, 84, 85... Okay, so yeah, right here you can see, I guess whoever was working the printing press at that day flipped it back to its correct. It's actually page 88, flips back over to 89, and then from there on out it reads just like a normal book. But I thought that was kind of cool. It's kind of a, I guess, rare thing now. So yeah, it's a misprint, but I think that just adds to its status. It's really kind of cool to have something like that. So this book a lot of times can really feel maybe like it drags a little bit, because I guess it's hard to write this type of book where you're trying to consistently show who a person that might have been using an alias at all times was. So it's always like, okay, we don't know who he was at this time as far as what name or alias he was using, but this guy might be that alias. And Daniel A. Edwards does make a lot of good arguments, I guess, as far as where, you know, Brushy's story and some random people show up. It is the late 1800s, though. Into the early 1900s, records weren't kept very well. Birth records, some death records. Unless the family kept them, who knows? He definitely could have gone somewhere else. But I don't want to really judge it too harshly, because I think Daniel does put a ton of effort into this book. He definitely dug through a lot of articles, a lot of photographs, and a lot of history. I think that even probably a lot of historians probably don't look into to attempt to show us that Brushy was Billy the Kid. And I guess this is a really big contested thing. Obviously, when we went to Fort Sumner, they said that it was Billy the Kid in the grave. And if you want to find out a little bit more about that, we did do a book review last week, obviously, about the grave, so click that link above and at the end of the video. But later on last year, when we went to Hico, and we met with Sue, and we went to that museum down there, and we visited Brushy's grave, that now says Billy the Kid. They definitely believe down there that they have Billy. So you have two different places that 100% sincerely believe that they have Billy the Kid there. And now this is kind of where it's like, I wish we knew exactly where both bodies were, because the flood in Fort Sumner destroyed a lot of the markers, so while Billy's body is most likely still there, they're not 100% sure. The last book we read did say it's probably off by a couple feet, but again, they can't just be digging up all these graves, you know. And then with Brushy Bill, his grave isn't exactly where it's supposed to be either. Both places we can't do DNA on, so it's kind of that frustrating part where we could definitely figure this out as far as, is it Fort Sumner? Is it Hico? Did Pat Garrett kill him? Did he die of a heart attack? Like, who is it? Was it Henry McCarty? Was it Brushy Bill? Like, let us know. Like, I wish we could figure that out a little bit more, but Daniel here is going to battle for the Brushy Bill theory. And now sometimes the pictures given, yeah, I can kind of see a resemblance to, but at the same time I'm like, I don't know. And the picture that looks obviously most like Brushy, which we'll get into this, because I'm pretty sure the cover itself is not the Tintype, but it's the Tintype with the Brushy picture kind of morphed together, because it definitely looks a lot different than the actual Tintype, which is okay. I mean, Brushy, if he's not Billy the Kid, does look quite a lot like, I guess, what you would think an older Billy the Kid would look like. And it does show the affidavits, as well as different pictures to try to prove that point, as well as Daniel going in depth and trying to pinpoint, was Brushy telling the truth here? Where is he as a record of that person? And again, like I said at the beginning, it's got to be really hard, because Brushy, if he is Billy the Kid, he's running away, he's probably using aliases. And at that point, you're not going to be able to track him. But Daniel does find some people that do match into Brushy's story. So, it's hard to tell. It's up to you guys. Was Brushy Billy the Kid? Let us know in the comments below. As we flip through, you can see there is a lot of writing, but at times there's a lot of pictures like J. Frank Dalton, the guy that falsely claimed to be Jesse James. I definitely don't believe that. I will say from 100% I don't believe Frank Dalton was Jesse. There's so much wrong. I mean, we were just out filming a lot of the Jesse James stuff, and I have a lot of family stories about Jesse James being related, and so I 100% know that he died by Bob Ford, not as an old man, J. Frank Dalton. As you can see, lots of cool pictures, and at parts, like, it's trying to show, like, this guy could be Roberts. And not gonna lie, when I first saw, let's go back here, you see like a lineup. So you see this lineup here, and this guy's obviously kind of standing strange. So first thing I definitely thought of was Billy the Kid, because he's kind of head tilted, kind of weird. It just could be, I don't know. And here, like right here, it's gonna say the same thing, but with Brushy and Billy. And they're going to say like the eyes match up. Here it is with Brushy kind of superimposed, looks just like it, I suppose, to a point. But at the same time, here's a picture of me and James Dean mixed. And yes, well, a lot of people do say, I guess I look like James Dean. I'm not James Dean. So is it foolproof? 100% no. but it is, I guess, intriguing. So my favorite part is the appendixes. I just think it's cool to go over a lot of the court records and warrants and stuff like that. And definitely Daniel went into a lot of effort to get these. And so it's really neat that he doesn't just tell you about it, but he actually lets you read it for yourself. And I find that the most intriguing part of this book. So as far as writing style, it does become a little bit of a slog to read at points, because it almost is too much of just, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this. It slows it down. But other times, I find myself at parts wanting to continue. Like I'd read it on a break, be typing, and definitely be thinking of this book. So even while working, I was like, I want to go back. And other times it was like, oh man, this book could be a drag. Luckily, the enthralling parts do outweigh the other parts. Alright, so if you do want to pick this up, we will link it in the description below as far as the Amazon link. But if you go to Hico to the museum, you can actually find this in the Billy the Kid Museum in Hico, Texas. And in Hico, you can see a lot of other people, including Emilio Estevez, have been there. And obviously, it shows a lot of people that do believe in the Brushy story. And at this point, I'm not going to say if Billy Kid was Brushy Bill or if he really died by Pat Garrett. We'll save that more for the documentary when I go into a little bit more depth about as much material as possible as I can truly read. I've been reading a ton, so hopefully we can get you guys a very concrete answer. But yeah, at some point I would love to interview Daniel Edwards, the author of this book, and really just pick his mind and see why he really believes in this, because I find that truly fascinating. Because obviously, like talking to Sue when we went to the Hico, she definitely believes it, and I just want to know more, because the more we know, hey, it might lead us down that path. You know, maybe Brushy 100% is Billy. But yeah, like I said, we're going to do a ton more Billy the Kid stuff, be it documentaries that we're watching, more books we're reading, or even some fictional movies like Young Guns 2, The Kid. We will have it covered. You guys, if you want to know about Billy the Kid, hopefully you guys stay tuned. This is going to be the channel for you guys for probably about the next month or so. Overall, though, I would rate it probably about a 7.3 out of 10. I had to think about this for a while. At parts, it definitely felt more like a 6.0, but other parts it felt like a 7.5 to 8. So I'm going to try to meet somewhere in the middle and say about a 7.3 out of 10. It's not terrible. There's a lot of cool parts in it, like I've shown you. A lot of cool photographs, a lot of cool like written statements or court records, and some good information. Even if Brushy turns out not to be Billy Kid, it still could be a really fascinating read. So yeah, if you want to see more Cool's book reviews, including last week's on Billy the Kid's grave, click that link to your left. If you want to see more of what we do here at Culz Paranormal, including the National World War I Museum, click that link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And let us know, was Brushy Billy the Kid?